Anyway, next we have the spat between Roku and Google company, in particular the YouTube TV issue. It's now all public. It's just kind of funny when I first read this article. So the Verge.com mentions that Roku recently pulled out YouTube TV from its channel store. Now, for those who aren't familiar, Roku is a streaming box wherein you can stream different services, whether it's app Apple's, what do you call it? Streams are for Apple Plus, I think, or Disney Plus or Amazon Prime, whatever. So they offer a plethora of options for you to watch in their box, which is very affordable compared to other products. But the main contention is that Google was said to demand unrealistic terms to renew to be able to use YouTube TV slot in their platform. And obviously, one of the issue is to access sensitive customer data, and obviously another is for Roku to commit themselves to support AVI decoding in their content. Now, one of the issues here regard to obviously for the data is very concerning for the company, and another is the decoding, as I mentioned. So AVI is another form of video output in a sense, and obviously one of the key problems here, if you're Roku, is it requires extra hardware to maintain or to be able to stream those outputs, and obviously this will have an impact in your devices. It could significantly increase cost, which is what they don't want to do, since they're known for being affordable in terms of streaming box, as mentioned. And obviously Google is leveraging their power over those market players in terms of, if you want to be able to use or stream or include YouTube TV, you need to be able to play ball with us. And obviously one is crying foul. We'll see if who's going to win here. And let's see here. So as mentioned, why are Roku and Google fighting? What are they fighting over? So obviously it's mentioned here that Google or Roku is claiming that Google is making demand on several fronts. So let's see here. What the heck is it? Where the heck was it? Yes. It mentions here that Google is demanding on several fronts. In particular, it's accusing the company of trying to mock its search results, preferring their search engine over Roku's search engine in a sense. And obviously the key issue is the AVI support. Now, obviously it requires significant horsepower in a sense. So you need to upgrade your box there, but that's going to increase cost here, which is they don't want to do because that's their competitive advantage in the marketplace. And asking a deeper layer of customer data, obviously gathering data is always important for any business to understand who their customers are, what their preferences are. And obviously they were denied they were considered interfering in terms of the search and demand. So the question here is, does Roku have a point here? What does Google have to say anything about it? Now, obviously Google has been pushing for Android TV device makers and smart TV manufacturers to build support for the decoding of AV1, which is, they should be pushing since it would provide a better content. But obviously, as mentioned earlier, that it requires extra horsepower in your device, which is, not just in the box, but in your television sets at home, will require significant horsepower, which obviously will add more cost here. And they also know that YouTube is a very popular app, and they are using as a bargaining chip for anyone who wants to use their platform, but it's going to cost them. And what's ironic here is, even if Google has been pushing their platform to be showcased and using that specific coding or AVI, it requires superior hardware here. So it can produce not just 1080p but also high 4K resolution as well as 8K. But obviously it requires hardware, better hardware encoding here, which is it's going to eat up a lot of cost for Roku. I think right now it's costing around $30, which is pretty affordable if you think about it. And what's interesting here, even Google's own Chromecast, which costs $50, don't even have that encoding or decoding of AVI there. So obviously Roku will lose a key advantage over its competition. So it would like to stick to what's it's here. So I think what they mentioned here that they're going to they've already informed their customers that they're going to remove the YouTube platform, not just the YouTube platform, but the YouTube app in their platform there. So whether that's going to be a long-term solution or can they find a compromise here, we have to wait and see here.